Joel Hans Embiid has quietly amassed one of the most individually impressive stat lines in the history of organized professional basketball. And he has managed to do so while literally crying his way through playoff defeats, begging himself into undeserving league MVP awards, and winning absolutely nothing of substance in what has now amounted to an incredibly inept and unproductive 10-year career. This is the Joel Embiid story, and it is a story that began very unconventionally in Cameroon, where Embiid was born to a military officer and grew up playing soccer and volleyball. In fact, Embiid didn't even touch a basketball for the first time until the age of 15, and he was discovered at a basketball camp shortly thereafter by former NBA vet and fellow Cameroon native Luc Mbah a Moute. And thus at the age of 16, Joel would move to the United States and devoted himself to playing basketball. It would be in 2012, just 2 years after making the move to the States, that Embiid committed to the University of Kansas. And Embiid would ultimately play just one season at Kansas, finishing second team All-Big 12 and as the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. He would not ultimately, though, participate in either the Big 12 tournament or the NCAA tournament that season, as he suffered a stress fracture in his back in March of 2014, foreshadowing things to come into the early part of his NBA tenure. And speaking of which, just 1 month later, on April 9th of 2014, Embiid declared for the 2014 NBA draft, foregoing his final 3 years of collegiate eligibility.
I decided to declare for the NBA.
And on June 26, 2014, with the third pick in the NBA draft, the Philadelphia 76ers selected Joel Embiid.
The Philadelphia 76ers select Joel Embiid.
They might have selected him in 2014, but it would ultimately be years before Embiid would step foot on a basketball court wearing a Sixers jersey, as he was ruled unlikely to play any of the 2014-2015 season following a broken bone in his foot. Then in the summer of 2015, when a CT scan revealed a setback in his healing, he was again ruled unlikely to play that season as well. He would end up playing not one single game in the NBA for the first 2 seasons of his career. But in 2016-17, Embiid would finally reveal his potential and take the league by storm. Until, that is, he got hurt yet again. Embiid did show massive promise and upside during this season, averaging 20 points per game, 8 rebounds, 2.5 blocks in only 25 minutes per night. But on February 11th, 2017, it was revealed that Embiid had a torn meniscus in his left knee. And after some initial confusion and uncertainty with the diagnosis, Embiid would eventually be ruled out for the remainder of that season after playing in just 31 games. Thus, Embiid played a total of just 31 of a possible 246 games to begin his career. Man, when Zion isn't eating himself off of the court, even he played more than Embiid early on in his career. But eventually, Embiid would be able to play more than 0 to 30 games a year, though not substantially more, mind you, as Embiid has never played more than 68 games in any season of his entire 9 years played in the league to this point. When Embiid has been on the floor, however, he has proven to be undeniably excellent, showcasing a nearly unparalleled skill set for a player of his size. Unsurprisingly, he studied and patterned his game off of Hakeem Olajuwon when he initially picked up a ball for the first time as just a 15-year-old in Cameroon. And for his career now, Embiid has amassed quite an impressive statistical line, averaging 28 points, 11 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and nearly 2 blocks per game for his NBA career. And he is currently seeking his 3rd consecutive scoring crown. In addition to his robust scoring outbursts, Embiid is also a solid defender, being named to 3 All-NBA second teams throughout his career to this point. All of this while the Philadelphia 76ers have been going out of their way and opening the purse strings on those pocketbooks, sparing no expense to build capable rosters around Embiid that are ready to win now. And the Sixers have been good as of late in the Embiid era, winning at least 50 games in 4 of the last 6 seasons. And last season, Embiid was even given a completely undeserving league MVP award because the sycophantic pool of writers that vote on the award felt so sorry for him. Embiid finally won the league MVP award after finishing runner-up to Nikola Jokic both for first-team All-NBA distinctions and league MVP honors in consecutive years during 2021 and 2022. The award for Embiid coming on the heels of nearly illiterate ESPN stooge Kendrick Perkins' accusations that Jokic was stat padding and only got his first 2 MVP awards because he was white.
It's only 3 guys that won the MVP that wasn't top 10 in scoring. Steve Nash, Jokic, Dirk Nowitzki. What do those guys have in common? I'll let it sit there and marinate. You think about it.
While other prominent ESPN blowhard Stephen A. Smith just felt as if it was Embiid's turn to win.
I just think that this is his year.
Clearly, the other credentialed voters followed suit, as Embiid was given that obvious pity award with a fairly decisive 915 to 674 total points over second-place finisher Nikola Jokic. That despite the fact Jokic dwarfed Embiid and all of the other candidates in all of the advanced analytic fields that the media usually explode in their pants over, leading the league in PER, value over replacement, box plus minus, and win share, while leading the Denver Nuggets to the #1 seed in the Western Conference. But on the heels of Jokic's back-to-back league MVPs, there was likely some inevitable voter fatigue, in which case the award should clearly have gone to Embiid. No, not even close. Giannis Antetokounmpo should have been the obvious answer, who finished with very similar standard box stats and advanced metrics to Embiid, but Giannis had the best record in the entire league, while Embiid finished just 3rd in his own conference. There was literally no precedent ever for Embiid to get the award a year ago, but hey, after all, it was his turn. And I'm sure that decision would not blow up hilariously in both Embiid's and the voters' faces come playoff time. Of course it did, as Jokic damn near averaged a 30-point triple-double for the entire playoffs, while becoming the first player in league history to lead the postseason in points, rebounds, and assists, en route to winning the championship easily. All while Embiid, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, he blew a 3-2 series lead with a closeout Game 6 at home in Philadelphia against the Celtics. And in that Game 6 at home, the Sixers took a 2-point lead into the 4th quarter, looking to end the series. And they promptly scored 13 points and were pushed to a winner-take-all Game 7. And while the Sixers would ultimately fall in that Game 7, Philadelphia would at least show up with their A-game, led by league MVP Joel Embiid, and give it their best shot. No, that didn't happen at all. The Sixers would show up and take a robust dump in their pants while vomiting all over themselves, losing 112 to 88. And in that decisive game, Embiid, the league MVP, would score just 15 points on 5 of 18 shooting. But at least he has all of that ample amount of playoff success to fall back on. Because of course he doesn't have that either. But he did manage to show up in that post-game press conference following the Game 7 defeat and mock Giannis Antetokounmpo.
There's no failure in sports. It's not a failure, it's steps to success.
Well, it's not a failure, steps to success. But yeah.
Giannis, unlike Embiid, however, is a winner and a champion, things Embiid would know absolutely nothing about. But I guess it beats going to your post-game presser in tears, huh, Joel? And as Joel Hans Embiid
Bobby.
nears his 30th birthday coming up this March, he is likely eyeing his 2nd consecutive league MVP award. He has still yet to make it even to one conference final series. Hard to believe, but true. The next conference finals Embiid plays in will be his first. Forget about an actual NBA final series or winning a championship. Maybe just set those sights on getting out of the 2nd round, as Embiid is currently sporting an impressive 27-26 playoff record at this point of his career. And while Embiid has trusted the process for years,
Trust the process?
and the city of Philadelphia has, for whatever reason, been trusting him, perhaps the time is here and now to actually start winning something of substance. Either that, or be relegated to one of the many stat kings of this pathetically inflated era that has lacked very few actual winners.